Hi, I'm Cindy Halpern, and here's today's commentary for Sunday. Well, I've tried this before, but in one of the radical Islam sites to try to communicate with people, and I did communicate with various people, and the results were dismal. We had no common ground. They're filled of hatred, and they're not open to listening to any other point of view, especially not from a woman. That was number one, and especially not from a Jewish woman, number two, especially not from an American Jewish woman, number three. So I had 3 strikes against me before I even began. And when the dialogue broke down, they started the name calling, talking about my inferior Jewish genes and mocking my family and my looks. And to my credit, and maybe this wouldn't have been true 20 years ago, to my credit, I didn't take any of their insults seriously. Not that they didn't mean them, but that when reflecting upon myself, I didn't believe it. When they said I needed plastic surgery, that was so ugly, no man would want to be with me, no man would want to have children with me. But obviously, I have a daughter and grandson, so obviously right there, that information was incorrect. As far as beauty, I never claimed to be Miss America or anything like that. I don't have grandeurs of beauty. But, I mean, in my middle age, I do a lot for myself. These blue glasses are kind of sporty. They're new. I got them because my vision changed, not because I had to have a fashion statement, but because I needed new glasses. Yeah, I got a fashion-forward glasses, and I keep my, unlike when I was younger, I was a grunge when I was younger. I didn't know proper grooming, but that's many, many years ago. As an adult, I've always maintained proper grooming, and I don't doubt that. I mean, I used to have a bully in junior high school that put me down, and I believed what he was saying about me. But, you know, I look back at the pictures of me at that age, at 12 or 13, I look back at those pictures now through my objective eye as a middle-aged woman. I say, there was nothing really wrong with me. My grooming was off. That could have been easily fixed. It eventually was fixed. But as far as my actual looks, I look at these pictures now, and I don't see anything wrong with me. Now, again, I don't say I was beautiful, but I would say that I was attractive, and I would say in middle age, I've obtained knowledge about, you know, makeup and clothes, and, you know, I mean, I certainly pass. And for these Muslim radical people to comment on that, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't believe that. I didn't look in the mirror and say, oh, maybe they're right. No. So I guess that is a commentary on my security as a person. I mean, it took years in coming, but I am there. And so they didn't destroy me there. And as far as they picked me apart about other things, their values about me being a woman, that didn't stick with me either. I'm a liberal woman. I guess I'm a little conservative when it comes to security and the safety of Israel, but in general, in domestic policy, I would say I'm a very liberal woman. For example, I had surgery done on both arms because the moles turned black. And I'm from Rhode Island originally. I live on Long Island. And I wrote back to Rhode Island to a surgeon I knew and trusted, a woman doctor. And, you know, I had lunch with a friend, and then I drove back. And I did it. I did it, and I didn't think to myself, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this. I didn't even consider that. Not even for a second did I consider that. When my mom was living, I did round trips to Rhode Island all the time, and I didn't consider, oh, I'm a woman, I'm not up to it, I can't do it. Yes, I can do it. I can drive just as well as any man. I agree, parallel parking's not my strong suit, but I just tend to avoid that, and I don't tend to do that. But the general driving on a highway, I'm pretty good. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm pretty good, pretty competent. I've been driving for many years, since I was 18. And I don't even question my ability to do that because I know I can. And I know on Long Island, some things I don't know where certain locations are, and I defer to Ted to tell me. But once he tells me, then that's it. I attempt to do things. I admit, tried to go to the JCC South Shore one time, and I didn't find it. I never found it. I still to this day do not know where that is. But you know what? I made the attempt. I never found it. Came back. I was all right. I did it. You know, when I first came to Long Island, of course, I knew where the Roosevelt Field Mall was, and I did that. And, you know, I don't judge myself that way anymore. I know there's certain abilities I don't have, and I understand that. There's certain abilities I'm not technically advanced, and yet, you know, here I am on YouTube. I figured it out. I can't do programming or anything, but I just sold something on eBay. The other thing didn't sell, unfortunately. You know, Facebook, YouTube, different things I've mastered. I'm not proficient at it, but enough to get by, to communicate in the modern age. And I guess I've reached a milestone that in middle age I believe in myself more than I have generally believed in myself. And that's a great feeling. And some people never get there. I got there maybe later than somebody else. But that's a great feeling, and I will always have problems. I always have problems to solve. I don't know how well I'll solve all these problems, but I will give it a good try to solve a lot of my problems and come up with different answers than the usual. But I learned that about myself, feeling these radical Muslims who believe in radical Islam, that I have a confidence that I did not know that I had. And that's when you learn about confidence, when you're confronted with people who don't believe in you, who hate you actually, and you still have that confidence that you don't believe them, and you know the truth about yourself, you stand in your truth, and that's a good place for me to end this, in believing in myself.